to the regularly scheduled public meeting June 15, 2020 of the Township of Washington Township Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers in... Am I reading the wrong one? It says January.
Yes, no, it's right.
Oh, in January. And this notice has been posted in the Township Bulletin Board and on the Township website. Salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the
to the
republic
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Here.
Councilman Cumming.
Here.
Councilman DeSena.
Here.
Councilwoman Morgan.
Here.
Council President Feeney.
Here. Let the record also reflect in attendance Township Administrator Tovo, Township Attorney Power, and Township Clerk Wachowski. Public service announcement. Any mobile COVID-19 testing.
I can't hear anything.
Stacey, can you
Yeah.
talk up a little bit? It sounds
Sure.
low.
Hold on, wait. Let me just. You know when I move the phone? Hold on.
I'm sorry.
I can't hear anything.
How about now?
Still soft.
Too soft?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear nothing.
Neither do I.
She dropped out for a second. Coming back in.
How about now?
Echo and a bit of a freeze.
Good?
Delay. Desiree, can you hear anybody?
No, I hear you, Sue. That's it.
I hear you, Sue. I hear.
Wow.
Oh, I hear you, Mike. I hear you, Mike.
Hi, Desiree. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Art?
Okay.
you
Can
say
you guys
something.
hear me
Yeah.
now?
Yes.
Can you guys?
Do you guys hear
Okay.
Stacy?
No, she's
No.
cutting in and out.
No.
JR can hear me.
I hear you very low, but
Okay.
Always just cutting out, JR.
All right, hold on 1 second. Can you guys just hold on 1 second?
that's better now.
Can you hear you? Mr. Pollard?
Sorry, I muted my thing there for a second.
You're there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you.
Since we can't see him and only hear him, does that mean he gets paid half? I'm drinking profusely. Seltzer.
Okay, how about now?
Wow, loud and clear.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
far.
All right, I think I know what it was. It was
For
my
what?
stand.
You're hearing something?
Desiree, can you hear me?
Desiree, you don't hear her?
I do not.
Oh, you're the only one. All right, Desiree can't hear her yet.
Desiree can't hear you, Stacy.
Okay, so just go out and go back in. Okay, I get it. Okay, everybody, we don't need to keep repeating this, okay? Desiree, can you somebody tell her to log off and log back on?
I'm going to take her off and I'll bring her back.
You have the plug for this. You have the plug for this.
Hi,
You have
Emma.
the plug for this, and then you could use this.
Just
Oh God, we just lost Stacy.
We're regaining Desiree.
Excuse me.
Desiree, any better?
I hear you. I never heard Stacy.
We all
And I
had a
still
hard time.
can't.
No, she's not there.
Oh.
Michael, talk.
I'm here.
Art,
Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mr. Pollard?
I'm here. I'm here.
All right, Desiree.
Mark, forget the seltzer. We need vodka.
Yeah, right?
Hear everyone so far.
That's
Okay.
what the Russians said would protect them from radiation at Chernobyl. So
Yes.
that was their excuse for heavy drinking, very heavy drinking.
I see Stacy.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you
Yeah.
now.
Okay, great. Okay,
It's like the
perfect.
commercial.
Okay, great. All right, everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Sound good?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, PSA for June 15th, 2020. Let me just check with Ricky. Hold on one second. Okay, PSA June 15th, 2020. Community mobile COVID-19 testing for those with or without symptoms will be held on Wednesday, June 24th at the Stony Brook Swim Club, Hillsdale. Please visit the township website for further information. Coronavirus. For the latest updates, messages to the coronavirus, please visit the township website. Last day to register to vote. Tuesday, June 16th is the last day to register to vote for the July 7th primary election. Please visit www.twpofwashington.us under elections to download the form to submit, or you may call the clerk's office. Tuesday, June 16th, only between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. to make arrangements to receive a form and submit before 9 p.m. Primary, July 7th. Update. All registered Democrat and Republican voters will automatically receive a vote by mail ballot. If you are unaffiliated or inactive and would like to participate in the primary, you should complete and return the vote by mail application found on our website. If you have a disability and need an accessible ballot, contact 201-336-7020, or you may in-person vote July 7th in the ADA compliant voting machine, which please remember is only for voters who have a disability. All voting will be at the senior center, and if you choose to vote in person, it will be by provisional ballot only. The voting machine will be there as stated only for those with a disability. Estimated tax bills third quarter 2020 only. Due to COVID-19, there are delays from the county providing the tax rates. Therefore, estimated tax bills are being prepared and will be mailed out. This bill is only for the third quarter August tax payment. You will receive a separate bill for the remaining quarters of 2020 billing cycle later in the year. Please note that the estimated property tax bill has the same status as a regular bill. The due date is August 1st and the grace period is through August 10th, after which interest will be charged. Please contact the tax collector at 201-666-8797 for any questions or concerns you may have. These details will be included in your estimated tax bill mailing for your review. For our commuters, the Coach bus service has resumed New York City bus service. Coach USA will resume commuter services to and from the Port Authority bus terminal in New York City effective Monday, June 15th today. For complete information, visit the township website. Paper shredding only event. Shredding will take place on July 25th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Municipal Complex parking lot. Bring your papers to be shredded. No books, no binders. A blue drop box has been placed outside of the town hall for depositing all correspondence addressed to the proper department. No cash should be placed in the mailbox and all payments must be in a sealed envelope. Property owners, if your property is adjacent to a township-owned property and you are interested in purchasing such parcel, please send a letter, email of interest to Mayor Peter Calamari. Special council meeting will be held on Monday, June 29th at 7:30 p.m. for the 2020 budget adoption and any other matters on the agenda. Okay. Approval of minutes, April 20, 2020. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, Sue, roll call?
Councilman Cassio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. April 2020 conference agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Councilman, Sue, roll call?
Councilman Cassio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Okay. General public discussion. Please limit your time to 5 minutes. To participate in the general public discussion portion of the meeting, please dial in on 201-664-4659. You will be asked to state your name and address for the record, and we ask that only one person speak at a time. Please note that at the end of the general public discussion, no more calls will be accepted. And please keep in mind there's a 5-minute limit. Motion to open the public discussion. May I have a motion?
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Hello? Hello? Is there anyone there for public comment?
Yes, my name is Margaret Coachell.
Yes, Ms. Kosher.
25 Pascack Road.
Yes, how may we help you?
I'm just calling to make a comment. I think this town is extremely fortunate to have Susan Wachowski as its clerk. She doesn't get any acknowledgement for all that she has to do during the virtual meetings. And she is absolutely amazing. And always so cordial to everyone and knowledgeable. So I just wanted to put in a good word for Susan, since no one else seems to acknowledge her excellence.
Thank you so much for calling in. And yes, I believe the entire council and the administration is very appreciative of Ms. Wachowski's services to the town.
Thank you.
Yes, is there anyone else on the line?
Is there anyone else on the line tonight?
Yes, hello.
Hello? Name and address, please?
Anthony Conti, 490 Ridgewood Boulevard North.
Yes, Mr. Conti, how are you?
I'm very good. I'm just curious to know, on the last council meeting, I requested answers to an email that I sent to the council. And as of last meeting, the council president said she was going to reply to my email, which I have not received yet. And I was wondering how much longer it was going to take.
Actually, Mr. Conti, I was going to respond to your email today. I wanted to just clarify a few things, and I will send it after the meeting. I was formulating it, and I wanted to make sure it read okay to you. So you will receive it this evening.
Okay, and the other thing is the mayor said he was going to announce the location of the DPW. Has that been announced? He said he was going to do it this evening.
I do not have confirmation that he said he was going to do it this evening. We have not had an announcement yet. And the mayor is on vacation this week, and I'm sure when he gets back, it will be part of our discussions.
So the mayor isn't even there this evening?
No, the mayor actually is on vacation, which he's had scheduled prior to this meeting.
Because the last meeting, I heard clear and well that he was going to make the announcement today. So I'm a little confused. Does anybody else have any idea of where the temporary place is going to be? The temporary DPW?
I believe that is up to the mayor to announce. I'm not sure if all of the negotiations have been finished also. So unfortunately, at this time, we do not have an answer for you.
So none of the council people know?
I'm sorry, Mr. Conti, again, at the present time, the council does not have an answer for you. We do not know.
So you haven't been informed yet. So the mayor's making all these decisions without even consulting the council.
Mr. Conti, that is actually not what I said. What I said was at the present time, the council has not been made aware of what's going on. I do not know what decisions the mayor has made, and I believe no one on this council can speak to that.
Well, Mrs. Feeney, I disagree with that. There's two concept plans prepared by the borough engineer showing the two locations for the proposed DMF yard that were in our packets at the last
Okay,
meeting.
but Councilman DeSena, we do not have an answer what the decision is on that from the mayor, and that's what Mr. Conti has asked.
Okay, but we did receive two locations in our packet.
No, I understand, but I do not have an answer. The question was, do we have an answer as to where the location will be? We do not have an answer yet. Yes,
So what
or
are
no?
the two locations that
Don't know what the
they're
negotiation,
looking at?
that's the difference.
Okay, Mr. Conti asked if we have a decision on where the location of the DMF will be, the DPW. As of right this second, per this meeting, and we haven't gotten to it in this packet, we do not have an answer for that yet.
I don't think he asked for a decision. I think he asked locations where they would be, not a decision where they're going to.
He asked for a decision on the location.
Okay, so let me just clarify here. Where are the two locations they're looking at? What are the two locations they are looking at?
Mr. Conti, if you watch the meeting, you will see where those locations are.
Can't tell me now.
Well, Mr. Conti, it's up for discussion in our packets. So if you continue to watch the meeting, you will hear where they are.
Actually, it'll be in closed session, so you will not.
Well,
Oh, so they're going to do a closed
Okay, so
session even though they were,
okay,
they
so
were
here's
told
the
no closed
situation.
sessions during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, Mr. Conti, at this present time, we do not have the locations to give you. That's the actual answer that everyone on this council can give you. No one on this council has an answer for you, again, regarding the location of the DPW. I am terribly sorry we don't have an answer for you. However, we are working together to get the answers out.
But are you planning to do a closed session? Even though there's specific guidelines saying you should not be having closed sessions during the COVID-19 pandemic.
It doesn't say we shouldn't have closed session meetings. It says only if it's absolutely necessary.
Excuse me?
Guidelines are if it's absolutely necessary.
Actually, it's the guidelines read, from what I read, is if it was an emergency, if it was a health emergency, if it was something along those lines, but not for a W location.
The administration to inform us if we need to have a closed session to move something forward.
So DPW is considered emergency.
What I'm saying to you is I'm telling you what the guidelines say. Mr. Conti, to answer your questions, yes, we are having a closed session. And no, at the present time, we do not have an answer on the location for you regarding the location of the DPW.
So what are the two locations you're looking at in closed session, being that I won't hear it?
Mr. Conti, we will not discuss that right now. Again, the council does not have an answer for you, and your 5 minutes is actually at your limit.
Okay, so again, we're doing things hidden from the public. That's what we're doing. We are doing things in town hidden from the public, even though the governor said not to do that during the pandemic. But we're going to do it anyway. I see you're talking over me at this point, so you don't want people to hear this. So I'm telling you that the governor said only if it's a health emergency should you be having some sort of closed session. This is not a health emergency.
Mr. Conti, again, if you read the guidelines more closely, I think that you'll see that there's other elements that we can have a closed session for. Thank you very much for calling in, and as soon as we have an answer on the DPW, I'm sure the public will be made aware, and we are not hiding anything as a council.
Yes, you are.
Well, that's, thank you very much for your opinion.
Okay.
Is there anybody else on the line?
Hello, is there anyone else? Last call? No other
Okay,
public comment?
Motion to close public discussion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Thank
Aye.
you. Okay. Okay, there's no adoption of second reading. Introduction of first reading, ordinance number 20-08. An ordinance amending the requirements for the canopy signs within the Township of Washington Shopping Center. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 20-08 at first reading by title. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Resolution number 20-229, authorizing publication of ordinance number 20-08 and schedule a public hearing. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, there are no individual resolutions. Resolutions consent agenda. The following items have been determined to have the unanimous consent of council and will be enacted in one motion. Should any item require independent consideration, any council member may have such item removed from the consent agenda. Does anyone have any resolutions to remove from the consent agenda for discussion before we vote?
Just 23-7.
2237?
What?
The last one, 20-237?
Yes.
Yes?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, motion to approve consent agenda resolutions 20-230, 20-231. So, I'm sorry, 20-230, authorized payment of bills, April 30th through May 14th, 2020. Number 20-231, permitting temporary permits for sidewalk cafes and outdoor restaurant seating during the COVID-19 pandemic, shutdown recovery. Number 20-232, authorization to rescind resolution 20-225 dated June 3rd, 2020. Resolution number 20-233, authorized submission of grant application and execute grant contract NJDOT for Hudson Avenue, Bridge Street, and Municipal Parking Complex Parking Lot Project. Authorized refund, resolution number 20-234, authorized refund of spring lacrosse program registration fees, paid minus the cost of the uniform, $60 per athlete, not to exceed $21,415. Resolution number 20-235, authorize the mayor to execute the reimbursement agreement in conjunction with the CARES Act. Resolution number 20-236, authorize the inclusion in the Bergen County Community Development Program, July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2024. Motion to approve consent agenda resolutions. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Councilman sorry, what?
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Councilman Casso, you want to discuss 20-237?
Yeah, I want to know.
We need a motion first, please.
Oh, okay. May I have a motion for resolution number 20-237?
So moved.
Okay, I'll second. Councilman Casso, you'd like to discuss this resolution?
Yeah, I'd like to know from the administrator, what is the amendments? What were the amendments to the original agreement?
Specifically, I have the change in front of me. They were provided by the county, and they were minor changes to the agreement, and with a very short turnaround time, we had to have it approved by, I believe, July 17th. It's pretty much all on their end, so they can administer the grant program properly through the federal government.
You know what those amendments are?
It doesn't affect our application process or anything that we do on our end. It was more onerous to them. You can get a clarification from office on that if you would like for tomorrow.
No, that's right. So just on that one, just change the date. Yeah, July 1st, 200 on my thing. Make sure that's changed to 2020. So you're doing a fantastic job.
What do you, oh,
The date, the years.
Resolution number.
yeah, year 200.
Yeah, I'm old, but not that old.
No,
Is that AD or BC?
I don't know.
It says,
Either or.
Let me just look at the resolution also, make sure that the resolution should be fine, bud. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Sue.
You're welcome. Actually, it's year, July 1, 2000,
right.
so it goes 2000 through, so I'll change on the, agenda.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Does anyone else have any comments? Councilman DeSena?
No.
Councilwoman Morgan?
No.
Councilman Cummings?
No.
Okay, are we good to vote on this, or would anybody else, would you like to postpone?
No, I think we can vote on it.
Okay, great. May I have a motion, Sue, roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, adjournment to conference agenda. May I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Great. Aye.
Okay, well,
Okay. Does anybody need a break, or we're good?
We're good.
so far, so good.
Okay. Mr. Tovo, the project tracker?
You'll see there was no tracker included in your packet. That update was provided at the last meeting.
Okay. I would like to, Mr. Tova, I'd like to move to, I'd like to do the project
Mr.
tracker
Pete.
for the meetings going on. Sorry, go ahead.
Stacy, can Mr. Tovo provide can he email us the project tracker tonight or tomorrow?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask for.
Okay.
I'd like to do the, project tracker every meeting, please, just to keep everybody updated. And if you could send it out also, would that be okay with you?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, great. And then we're gonna put the project tracker as standard, Sue, on every meeting going forward?
Okey-doke.
Okay, draft ordinance for littering to include surgical and medically protected masks and gloves, mandatory court appearance follow-up. Mr. Pollard.
Right, well, this is the ordinance that I prepared based on the last meeting that we had, where there was an appetite to include the mask and the gloves as a special item. The increased fee for that is $150, and all littering requires court appearance. So those basically were the changes that you wanted.
Good deal.
I think it looks good. I also think that a lot of this is going to come from people outside the town, not our residents. So I think, it's a good way to say to people, don't make a mess in our town.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
think the court appearance is good because if there's an issue or something happened, or they could say they put it somewhere, I think a judge is more than willing to listen to the person who's standing there.
Okay, so it should be put on for introduction at the next meeting then.
Yes, Sue, can you put it on the next meeting's agenda for introduction? Does anybody else have any comments? Councilman DeSena or Councilman Casio?
I will be voting no on this. I think we're putting too much emphasis on it, and it's something that people need to police themselves.
And I'm okay with the changes, except for the specific, the gloves, the masks. I think any type of litter is a biohazard or can be a biohazard. And I don't think those items have to be included, because they're basically included under man-made items. So I would remove the masks and latex gloves, but definitely keep the mandatory court appearance and the increase in the penalty.
In the fine.
The only
Okay.
issue I have is the whole conversation and discussion came up because of the masks and gloves. So are we going to then do something to address that separately? Because that was what brought us to this litter discussion.
My
That's right,
my whole concern is policing this. You know, our officers are doing a fine job, and you know who's going to actually, you know, enforce this. You know, we can't even get grass in town cut, you know, from and stuff. So, you know, we're talking about somebody throwing a pair of gloves in a shopping center. I mean, per agreement, the shopping center is supposed to be cleaned every night. All the receptacles are supposed to be emptied, and it's supposed to be street swept, which they don't do any longer. I don't know how they're violating the ordinance, because they're supposed to street sweep it like they used to every night. And now they randomly go out there, and I see the guy picking them up manually. But years ago, like up until 2 years ago, there used to be a sweeper that used to drive at night. Most of you have seen it through the whole shopping center, and it would empty out all the garbage cans. And now it's done a lot less. So I think it's, you know, the shopping center owner has a, you know, something, you know, he's got to provide more receptacles to put these gloves and stuff in, and they have to get back, you know, to being a good neighbor, because you know there's the berm on the side of the building looks like hell. You know, there's a lot of things going on. There are quality of life issues for the people on Finnerty that have to deal with the noise. And I think, you know, that's what we should be concerned with is, you know, the Wakefern trucks at 4:30 waking up the Lipnicks, the Toomeys, and all those people that live on Finnerty because they're there and they're not supposed to be there. And their approval says they're not supposed to be there. That's what we should be concerned with as a council. So that's my 2 cents. Sorry about that.
But also, you know, we're not asking the police to do anything different than they're already doing. We're not asking them to sit in the parking lot and say you have to sit there and watch for gloves and masks. We're saying we're giving them a tool they can utilize, you know, that helps it strengthen our ordinance. So, and it does.
They can give them a littering. They can give them a littering ticket right now.
Councilman DeSena, please, one person at a time. You know, that it just strengthens the ordinance, and it strengthens us. A lot of, you know, people have complained. I've received complaints, and it's not just in the town shopping center. I'm talking about in other areas of town also where people are dropping gloves and masks. It's not just the shopping center.
Council President Feeney, may I address?
Absolutely, Mr. Cummings.
We opened this, as Councilwoman Morgan stated, because of a discussion about excess litter from protective masks and gloves. And we had Attorney Poller rework the ordinance to add more teeth, and as you so well put it, tools. These are merely tools. We're not going to send a brigade of gendarmes down there to hunt glove droppers every day, but it's a tool in our toolbox that we can use, and I'm going to offer more and different ones for things like grass at houses in the near future that I have brought from my previous. And although I agree with Councilman DeSena in most all cases, in this one, I'd like to just pass it the way it is, because it gives us more and better tools to keep our town cleaner and more beautiful and healthier.
I tend to agree with you, Mr. Cumming.
I also agree too.
I think if
so
anything, it'll act as a deterrent. You know, if you don't do that, we won't need to, you won't have any of these issues. The police won't have to police as often. And we're responsible people. I think sometimes we just, you know, need gentle reminders. And that's basically what this is. You don't want to go to court, don't litter. Don't drop your mask, like Mr. Cassio, Dr. Cassio said. They are different than just papers, and they are, you know,
they are virus.
Yeah, they could be carrying the virus. So
yeah,
right.
I think
and
it's
the more tools we give our, you know, the people in this town who take care of us to use, the better off they'll be. Also,
right.
Mrs. Feeney, I agree it's a quality of life issue, but we have bigger quality of life issues in town to fry. This is one of them. I'm not disagreeing with it. But, you know, taking a bike ride every night around Woodfield and the lake and seeing 2-foot high grass at the same houses over and over again, like I shouldn't have to call the code enforcement officer, you know, seeing garbage strewn in front of somebody's house, you know, 2-foot high grass. It's a foot now. You know,
I agree with you.
We're getting off topic, but I mean, if you would like to go ahead and introduce, if you would like to go ahead and introduce some other changes or make some recommendations, that's what we're all here for.
But it's already code, Stacy. That's the problem.
So then put it on the conference agenda. So put it on the conference agenda. So
I
put it
will-
on the conference agenda to have Mr. Sedekase answer for what's going on with the code enforcement. And I would say that would be the best avenue, would be to put it on the conference agenda and
Sure.
we could talk about it.
Will
So
do.
if you'd like, we could, Sue, could you put that on the conference
If it
agenda
makes
for
it, I'll
next
be more
meeting?
than willing to discuss it.
Of course it's going to make it. We're discussing it now. So Sue, would you please add it to the next meeting's conference agenda to discuss the ordinances and how we're taking care of how people's properties are being maintained in the town?
Mr. DeSena, I'd love to work with you on that.
Any day, Mrs. Morgan. I know you walk the same blocks I do, and you know how disgusting it is. It appalls me that somebody can let their property look like that for weeks and weeks on end, and then they're repeat violators, the same people over and over again. So we shouldn't be having to tell Mr. Sedekase or anybody in town because they go to the same houses over and over. And like Mr. Cumming always said, that should be the first day of every month that house should be, reviewed. And we said
Absolutely.
this,
So let's
me
get
and
it
Mr.
on
Cumming
the,
have said this for 3 years, and it still doesn't happen.
so
And
let's
just
get
on
it
a-
on the, let's get it on the agenda and then we can talk about, we can absolutely do that. So Sue, please,
And
let's
just,
get it on the agenda.
can I add something, Council President?
Sure.
Okay, just on the other note as well, I mean, even, I do walk a lot and seeing some houses that normally are pristinely kept, not kept anymore, brings up a different concern that maybe, if you are a neighbor and you start noticing, as much as you may keep to yourself, we keep to ourselves a lot around here. And if I notice that my next door neighbor or neighbor down the block is really, normally keeps their property beautiful, and all of a sudden I start noticing differences, just do a check on them or something, because maybe the COVID is affecting them. Maybe they don't have the money or the energy or the strength or the resources to take care of the property too. I'm not talking about the habitual offenders at all. I'm talking about the ones who normally would keep up on their property. So just be a good neighbor.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's
And
move.
you can
let's-
call the cops for a wellness check, which you
Yes.
probably all know. And they were very cooperative with me last week on a nameless one on Pascack Road. Okay. And it's very helpful. They were very nice about it. Chief Skinner is tremendous.
Okay, item number 2 is Councilwoman Morgan, no knockless newspaper delivery. Do you want to take this?
Sure. There was a resident who had called in, and I 100% understand the concern because I myself, again, walking the whole town, I see it all the time. The unsolicited delivery of newspapers, it clogs up. It gets run over in your driveway, and then there's wet paper everywhere, and it's on the street, and there are multiple. I get it. So if Mr. Poller can just explain, I know it's a slippery slope. First of all, we don't want to infringe on anybody, on anything that we can face litigation later on. So if you could just explain, I know there's certain ordinances that other towns have adopted. Is there any reason that we should maybe be careful, or should we be researching this to kind of,
Yep. Okay. So let me start out by saying that with 567 municipalities, you'll always find some towns with ordinances doing something. There isn't a subject around that there isn't an ordinance about. But the question is it a quality ordinance? Is it a qualitative ordinance? Is it something that could be enforced? And is it going to run afoul of something and open us up to some litigation, as you just pointed out? And this one does unfortunately fall right into an area where we do open ourselves up for litigation. And that's because there's a First Amendment issue involved in the distribution of whether they call them handbills, newspapers, whatever they are. When it comes to the First Amendment, the courts are not inclined to let the towns invoke their police powers to bar the distribution of information and data that way when there's a First Amendment, right involved. What I asked Sue to do, and she did do it, she did it. Great job, Sue. Great job.
Very good. Very good.
So I said, right around to a lot of the other towns, see what they have. And she did. She got a whole bunch of lists from towns, and you got plenty of towns that don't have these kind of ordinances, like Park Ridge and a whole bunch of them. And there's a few that do have it. I know that Franklin Lakes has it. But overall, I also said, let's get in touch with the New Jersey League of Municipalities, because they have a good access to what's going on generally in the state and elsewhere in the country. So I'm just going to read a quick thing that we got. I don't know if it's in the packet, but I'm going to read this, at least for the record anyway. The response that we got from the New Jersey League of Municipalities. And I'm doing it because it does illustrate the problem. And what it says is, in the past, courts have consistently struck down these types of ordinances for violating the First Amendment. We suggest your review of AdWorld Inc. versus Township of Doylestown with your municipal attorney. Although this case deals with a Pennsylvania municipality ordinance, it is a Third Circuit case, so it directly is applicable to New Jersey. Also, see Schneider versus New Jersey, a Supreme Court of the United States case striking down an ordinance seeking to limit handbill distributions. Here is a link to an ordinance for California, but we anticipate that this ordinance will be successfully challenged and cautioned against using it as a sample. Third Circuit, by the way, is New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and believe it or not, the Virgin Islands. Okay. So, that law does govern us, and it does, all it takes is, well, first of all, you have the enforcement issue. So getting back to the police, I mean, masks is one thing. If the police are going to see something in somebody's driveway, are they going to be issuing summonses on that? Are they going to find out if it's something that was ordered, if it was not ordered? And what's more important is that if it turns out that media companies and publishers who are protected by the First Amendment, all that has to happen is they get wind of something like this, and they can start an action against us, and there can easily be litigation. And I do not think that we would stand up too well against it. So even though I understand the argument about I didn't order it, it falls into the sewer system or whatever, or I have to pick it up and put it in the garbage. It really is a slippery slope to get involved with this kind of an ordinance. If you're talking about enforcement, you are really talking about an enforcement problem, about how to issue a summons and who's going to testify, how it's going to be presented, and things of that nature. So on the general scenario of what we have out there, I would say it's a mistake to start going down this road. There was also one town, not that I don't understand the issue, but it's a problem of trying to have an ordinance that's really not.
Can't enforce it.
Yeah, enforcement and trouble and possible litigation. There was one town, I forgot which one it was. The remark was something like, we tried to contact the media organizations to get their cooperation and let them know that we have this ordinance, and she said something like, good luck with that, that kind of a thing. So, from every vantage point, it's a problem.
All right, can I add just, and forgive me for sounding naive with this, I just want to know, how are we able to do the no-knock solicitation? How's that kind of...
Okay, no-knock solicitation is actually somebody walking up and knocking on your door to sell goods. Now, selling goods is different than, putting out publications of things. When we're talking about peddlers, things of that nature. Commercial sales is a different animal than information that's put out by people, which, of course, our democracy allows for First Amendment, dissemination. So that one, in addition to the fact that they walk up to your door, they would have to get a permit. So there's a mechanism to actually stop it. We're saying you can't go around and knock on somebody's door unless you have a permit, and here's the no-knock list, and therefore you can't go there. So my question was, are you going to give a permit to newspaper companies and companies that put out like the town journals and things like that? You know, it's a different thing altogether.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining.
Yep.
And I'm sorry to the resident who wanted it done. I kind of, you know, I understand 100%.
May I add something? In my experience in about 12 years over in that other town, there would be houses, especially after 2008, that were, of course, move-outs, and then the little papers would pile up on the driveway. Well, I put them by the spare tire in my trunk and then threw them in the dumpster when I came in from my patrol that day, or after a couple of days. And it's as simple as somebody picking them up carefully and with grabber tongs, if you have to, in this new viral age, and getting rid of them. I understand the residents' complaint of this distasteful litter at the end of the driveway, but we can't interfere with our constitutional rights. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any more comments on this topic? Okay.
Mr.
On to-
DeSena, you know you're muted.
I'm
No, I do
muted?
not. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Not you, Stace.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman DeSena, did you have something to add?
No, I do not.
Okay, thanks. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Okay. Financials. Okay, the next item was funding for the DPW building ordinance 19-14, 1.3 million. I want, based on former Councilman Ullman's comments last week, I wanted to include, to clarify some things so everybody would see that no, it wasn't on the budget, but according to our auditors and our new CFO, it's not required to be on the budget. However, it is on our books in Edmonds, and that has been confirmed with Lou May also. So I just wanted to confirm that all council members received the information in their packets.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, and to clarify that issues, you can see that these printouts came from Edmonds, and you can see the email from Lou May.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any comments on that or want to discuss it? Okay, great. So, and for the public, so they know that the accounting has been taken care of. Nobody is not informing the public that the money has been recorded,
Right
and
here.
hopefully this will clarify this issue. Okay. Next is a miscellaneous item, Fresh Grocer Affinity Place. Councilwoman Morgan has included some photos. Just to clarify, this is the walkway when you're looking at Fresh Grocer to the left, that there's a little pedestrian sidewalk, and when you look across the way is Devon Road, I believe.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead, Councilwoman Morgan.
So I feel there's a extreme safety issue at this point, at this pedestrian walkway. Personally, I was driving down Finnerty Place, and about, 5 or 6 group of boys, young kids, just out of nowhere, just kind of shot out, and they're right in the street. They're right in the path of the street. The way that the pedestrian walk is constructed, the walk is covered by trees, if you can see in the picture, and when the cars are pulling down, you can see in one of those photos, there's a car there. I was able to take a picture on one of my many walks. I was able to take a picture to show exactly what I was talking about. So I feel, my own children are riding around on bikes, and I tell them, I even walked with them over there. I'm like, do you see this here? When you come out, you're going to be directly put right out onto the middle of the street. It's not something that a driver can anticipate because they can't see the children or the people walking out of there. It's especially dangerous for those on bikes. They just roll right out, and the drivers are, it wouldn't even be their fault because there's nothing, it's an accident waiting to happen. So I would like to propose that we take a look at it, that the traffic the person who handles these traffic issues in the police department take a look at it, maybe figure out what can be done, whether a fence is put up there and something you can't just roll through with your bike, you have to stop and open it, or a yield sign. I'm not sure, but I know that it is something that is very, very dangerous for both the motor vehicle, the person in the car, and the cyclist. So,
Mr. Cummings, is the traffic police officer, is that Corporal Detective Guger?
I believe that's Guger. Yes.
Okay.
And I
So,
think we should refer this to Guger, ma'am.
Yes. Mr. Tova, would you please forward this information to Corporal Detective Guger?
I'll do that. I'll also for engineering this.
Okay. Thank you very much. Does anybody else have any more comments on this specific item? Okay, great. Okay, the next item, as in your packet, is 184 Affinity Place correspondence. Quite a few months ago, I believe in February, this was brought to our attention about the reimbursement of expenses. Sue, you spoke with her, correct?
No, I did not. She just dropped it off.
She just dropped it off. Okay.
She had delivered it in our pickup box, so I've not spoken to her.
So,
You haven't. Okay.
Council President Feeney, what weren't these? I thought Mr. Tovo had assured us these were going to be paid for back in March.
Well, I believe we were asked, she was going to submit them, and then we had asked to review them back in March.
May I try to recall that we requested that the engineer provide us with a brief summary of his
Yes.
viewpoint on all this to make sure that it was something that he would indicate whether we should pay or not.
And we also asked to see the Mrs. Lipnick's expenses, so that's what she dropped off on June 11th.
Well, that's fine, but I haven't seen anything from the engineer that says
No,
the
I don't
town's
see that either.
responsible and that we should pay it. And that's what I've been waiting for, I believe.
Right. I do see an email from Mr. Tovo informing Mrs. Lipnick that we were going to pay. Mr. Tovo, do you have the engineer's report?
I received something from him as early as today. Initially, the engineer recommended the reimbursement of $426. He felt that was the only charge that would be appropriate for reimbursement. Because of all the bills that were included or supplied to us, I asked him to take a second look at that to see if we weren't missing anything. He has taken a second look and continues to hold firm that the 426 is the only piece that we should be responsible for.
$426.
Correct.
Is that right? Okay. Do we have that? Do you have that in writing from the engineer, sir?
I have it in an email, yes.
Could you forward that to the rest
Mr.
of the council, please?
I don't know that we need that. I don't
Mr.
think we
Tovo,
need
if
that.
these
Well, I'd
expenses-
actually I'd like the report also determining,
Well-
so we could see what happened, because like you
Yes.
requested originally, Councilman
You're
Cummings.
right. You're right. You're right.
Have these expenses been submitted to our insurance company, Mr. Tovo?
That would be below our deductible, the 426, so we would not be eligible for
Well, she
reimbursement.
submitted $2,500 worth of expenses, so I'd
Right,
like.
but the engineer's saying that we're not responsible for the 2,500. So I think in order to see what's going on, Councilman DeSena, wouldn't you agree that we would need the report in order to either
Well, if you
agree
read,
with the engineer or disagree with the engineer?
well, if you read what Mrs. Lipnick has provided us, starting,
Yes.
and you read the whole thing, it's well documented that it's from grease from the fresh grocer that clogged her sewer line.
And
So-
I don't disagree. However, with everything else we've discussed during the 6 months I've been on council, it's always been based upon what the engineering report has says, and I think we have to go in the same direction. I don't think we can pick and choose. So
Yeah,
I
but she's
don't
been waiting
agree.
since
I don't
March.
disagree.
This is going on since March.
I understand completely, but again, this was received June 11th, 2020. As you can see, it says at the top of the stamp. So I think in order to make the best determination and a fair determination for all parties involved, I don't disagree that Ms. Lipnick may be entitled to more money, but I think the engineer's report, in addition to the information we have, will give us an entirely complete picture.
Ms. Feeney, can I just chime in there?
Sure.
According to our engineer, he was never able to determine a clear cause of the issue there at her property. Fresh grocer is a possibility. The time the lines were checked, there was not grease in the lines. So when it comes to the backflow preventer that we had discussed or kicked around, the engineer is not convinced that will have any impact whatsoever. So, you know, I think we need to dive into this a little bit further before we come to a conclusion. So I think we should reimburse the 426 he's recommending and continue to get the answer as to what's really causing the issue.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I think we need, I think like Mr. Cummings said, we if you could forward that response from the engineer and we could take a look at it. And then I think I agree that we have to find out what's going on here because she did spend quite a bit of money. I think we need all the facts. If you could forward that to us. And I saw there was something on here about Suez. You have a call out to Suez?
She wants to know what the blue marks are on the street. They're markouts for
Oh,
utilities,
the markouts. Okay.
for the gas and electric. And the 1-800 markout is not required to tell the town what they're doing and who called in, that their cable is out or whatever other thing is wrong. So we don't necessarily know, and then it's not her breakdown, her problem.
Mr. Tovo, Mr. Tovo, since this is an extremely large amount of money for a resident to encumber, can we make sure that Mr. Yakimic provides a response before our next meeting so we can make an informed decision, please?
Well, we do have, Mr. Tovo, you have a response, correct?
I think Mr. DeSantis is asking for a more detailed response.
Well, that's what you just said, Stacey, we were getting. You just said we were getting a more detailed response from the engineer, right, Stacey?
No, he said he could. I thought he said he had originally requested a more detailed response. Mr. Tovo, I may have misheard you.
He said, and then they got to him and they agreed that that was all that they were going to cover. That,
okay.
Yeah.
But that was just regarding the bills. The second piece of that would be the complete investigation and where we are with it. And as I said earlier, there's no clear indication as to what the cause is, and I'll have the engineer put that in writing.
So I think in order to maintain fairness and we have to treat everyone the same, if you could forward those responses from Boswell to the council, and let's add this again to the next agenda and see if we can get some more information for this.
Will do.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And once everybody has, and then Sue, can you put these same documents back in the packet plus the additional documents for next meeting?
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Feeney, has a tax assessor chimed in on her assertion about the damage to her property based on what she wrote?
I do not believe so, but Mr. Tovo, could you please reach out to the tax assessor as Ms. Slipnick has indicated and give us the response for next meeting?
Yes.
Thank
Thank you.
You know, and I also think that we may have to inquire, because there's such a close proximity, maybe Fresh Grocer would be willing to come, you know, talk to her about it. I know she tried to reach out, but maybe some encouragement would be of some assistance to her. Mr. Tovo, did you I know with COVID meetings are tough, and did you happen to, were you able to reach out to Fresh Grocer or not as of yet?
A few months back, we had our zoning official go over there and speak to management regarding cleaning the grease traps on a more frequent basis. And he received a positive response, and I believe in one of the residents' emails, she indicated that she has been seeing more cleaning of those traps.
Guy, that was in the packet. That was in the information.
Does our engineer, Mr. Tovo, does our engineer have the receipt of when the grease traps were cleaned in the last 4 years? When this started to occur?
I have to ask him that. I know he's backtracked this about as far as you could to try to get the history both from her and from other sources. And again, no matter where you look, it didn't give a clear delineation as to what's causing the issue there.
Well, I'd just like to see the the 2 times minimum yearly cleaning of the grease trap bill for the shopping center, so we could prove that it was done.
Right, we'll have to get that from Fresh Grocer, so.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll see
You
if we
agree
can
with
get
that,
that.
Mr.
They're
Tony?
not. Okay. All right, good. So I think we have a good plan for this item. It'll be on next meeting's agenda, and we'll have some more information, hopefully to make a better decision, a better informed decision. Okay. The next item is I put this on the agenda. I know we discussed it in the PSA, but I wanted to make sure everyone was aware that there will be community mobile COVID-19 testing for those with or without symptoms Wednesday, June 24th, 2020 for Hillsdale, Emerson, and Washington Township at the Stony Brook Swim Club. The address is 183 Cedar Lane, Hillsdale, New Jersey. All mobile testing sites are weather permitting. Please visit the town's website to get the information. It is currently up on the screen right now. You arrive between 10 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. for the general public testing. First responders only. Testing will be from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. You must bring with you an identification, such as a driver's license, social security card, passport, or birth certificate. You also need, in order to get tested, proof of Bergen County residence or employment with the municipal or county government, copy of lease, driver's license, or a utility bill. And if you have an insurance card, if applicable. The test will be there's a saliva COVID-19 test. Please do not eat, drink, smoke, or chew gum 30 minutes before the arrival. There's also a COVID-19 antibody test. Antibody testing is available for Bergen County first responders only and healthcare workers and Bergen County community members who had a prior COVID-19 positive diagnostic test and who can bring a copy of their positive COVID-19 diagnostic test results. Antibody testing is limited to 100 tests per day. Again, the testing will be at the Stony Brook Swim Club in Hillsdale, New Jersey, and the information is on the town's website. Okay. There's one last item that's actually not on the agenda. We received a thank you letter from Kitty Bendon and family for making her father's 101st birthday such a happy and memorable occasion for our family. So I just wanted to mention that the Bendon family did send a thank you. So naming Dad as the Grand Marshal of the virtual Memorial Day Parade and including his birthday parade video as part of the Memorial Day celebration, which enabled all of our family and friends to view the parade, is so much appreciated. The videographer from WCTV was wonderful, and the final video that resulted from her videoing the parade is fantastic. She truly captured Dad's happiness. I have personally watched the video 5 times on WCTV. So I just wanted to read that. Thank you, Daisy, for the Memorial Day Parade and all who volunteered and helped and everyone who submitted videos. Okay, that's all I have for this evening. Closed session. Resolution number 20-239, purchase, lease, or acquisition of real property with public fundings pending or anticipated litigation or contract negotiations, temporary relocation of DPW vehicles and equipment. Motion to enter into closed session.
So moved.
Okay, I'll second.
Who's going to update us on these items?
I believe Mr. Poller and Mr. Tovo. So,
Yeah.
All in favor?
No.
Aye.
Aye.
No.
All right, I'm sorry. Desiree, yes. Stacy,
Yeah.
yes. Mr. Cumming,
Yes.
Mr. DeSena,
No.
Mr. Cassio,
No.
Mr. Pollard, what does that mean anything? 3 yeses, 2 nos, not to go into closed session?
There's 3 votes that said yes, 3
Yeah.
votes carry the day.
It carries?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to sign off now. Thank you very much, everyone who attended virtually and on TV.